The Life of Prophet Muhammad. Glimpses of Pre-Islamic Society. Part 2. Professor Abdul Hamid Siddiqui, in his book Life of Muhammad, writes that Arab traders, upon returning from their trading expeditions to Rome, Persia, Syria, and India, often brought back indulgent habits and immoral practices. Girls were imported from Syria and Iraq and exploited for pleasure, leading to a society steeped in sensuality and lust. Those who refrained from such vices were mocked and labeled as miserly, unsocial, or narrow-minded. The decline of family values. One of the darkest aspects of pre-Islamic Arab society was the collapse of the family structure. Although the wealthy enjoyed slightly better circumstances, the general state of male-female relations was marked by rampant immorality. Polygamy was common, with men often marrying multiple women simultaneously, including two sisters or even their stepmothers after their fathers' deaths. It was not uncommon for 10 men to maintain relations with the same woman. Prostitution was openly practiced, with numerous brothels operating across towns. Alcohol consumption and gambling were widespread, contributing further to the moral decay of society. Unrestrained immorality. Their shamelessness knew no bounds. Daughters attended tribal gatherings in semi-nude attire, where explicit and vulgar poetry was recited about their bodies. Hardly any vice existed that Arabs were not familiar with. They reveled in play, debauchery, and murder, becoming avid consumers of alcohol and indulgence. Each household resembled a tavern. Their cruelty extended beyond humans to animals, using them as targets for archery practice or cutting off parts of living animals to consume. Prisoners of war faced unimaginable torture, often being mutilated or having their organs consumed. Drinking from the skulls of slain enemies was considered an honor, and criminals faced barbaric punishments. Islam's transformative impact. The profound immorality of Arab society before Islam serves as a testament to the truth and transformative power of Islam. It was this very society that Islam elevated, turning a savage and ignorant people into moral leaders of the world. Despite the moral decay, some upright individuals existed in that society who distanced themselves from such depravity. The positive traits of Arabs. Interestingly, even amidst their moral decline, Arabs possessed certain admirable qualities that set them apart. 1. Valor and courage. Arabs were unmatched in bravery, which often bordered on savagery. Dying in battle was considered an honor, while dying a natural death in bed was deemed disgraceful. Even Arab women showed remarkable courage, often fighting alongside men in battles. 2. Generosity. The generosity of Arabs was unparalleled. They would sometimes give away their last possession to a needy person. Hospitality was a deeply ingrained virtue, to the extent that a man with only one camel for sustenance would slaughter it to serve his guests. 3. Love for freedom. Arabs were fiercely independent and valued their freedom above all else. Despite being situated between two great empires, Rome and Persia, no one succeeded in subjugating them. 4. Loyalty and trustworthiness. Arabs were highly loyal and upheld their promises at all costs. They considered it a sacred duty to honor their pledges, even sacrificing their lives, wealth, and children if necessary. Once someone sought their protection, they would defend them at any cost. Why Arabs were chosen as the bearers of Islam. It was perhaps these unique traits, courage, generosity, loyalty, and love for freedom, that made Arabs the ideal people to carry the banner of Islam. Their vices, while severe, were not inherent to their nature and could be eradicated, as proven by their transformation under Islam. On the other hand, virtues like bravery, honesty, and a passion for freedom cannot be cultivated artificially. These were inherent traits that Allah had endowed the Arabs with in abundance. When Islam purified the Arabs of their moral corruption and infused their virtues with the spirit of Islamic jihad, they became an unstoppable force, renowned for their valor and unwavering faith. The political conditions of the Arabs before the advent of Islam. In the last 2 episodes, the social and economic conditions of the Arabs were discussed. In this episode, a brief overview of the political conditions of that time is being presented. Before the advent of Islam, the Arabs were divided into tribes, scattered like the beads of a rosary across the deserts of the Arabian Peninsula. The political system of the tribes was semi-democratic. A chief was appointed for each tribe, chosen not only for his bravery, ability, and wisdom, but also due to his kinship with the previous chief. Everyone followed the commands of their leader, but the chief would also consult with the influential members of the tribe. Since the Arab people were known for their strong-willed nature, sometimes a small dispute between individuals from two different tribes would escalate into a matter of the entire tribe's honor, leading to a declaration of war against the opposing tribe. These wars would sometimes last for many years. For example, a war broke out between the Banu Taglib and Banu Bakr tribes over the killing of a camel named Basus, which continued for 40 years. When we look at the regions surrounding the Arabian Peninsula, to the north, we see the great Byzantine Empire of Rome, and to the east, the mighty Sassanid Empire of Persia. In some ways, the Arabian Peninsula was a buffer state between these two powerful neighboring empires. The Arabs referred to these two empires as the two powerful lions Acidain Calib, as they were the two most powerful nations of the time, engaged in a long-standing conflict. At times, the Romans would defeat the Persians, causing them significant losses, and at other times, the Persians would emerge victorious on the battlefield. The ruler of the Byzantine Empire was known as the Caesar, while the ruler of the Persian Sassanid Empire was called Kisra. During the time of the Prophet, the Byzantine Empire was ruled by Emperor Heraclius, while in the Prophet's childhood, Persia was ruled by the famous Persian king Khosrow I, known as Anushirvan. Later, Khosrow II, also known as Khosrow Parvez, became the Persian king, and it was he who arrogantly tore the Prophet's letter of invitation to Islam. Here, I conclude the discussion on the history of the Arabs and the general conditions of the Arabian Peninsula at the time of the birth of the Prophet. Inshallah, from the next episode onwards, the detailed narration of the Prophet's life will begin.